What do you get when you take the filling from an apple pie and put it inside of a cinnamon roll? Let's find out. That's right, we're making apple pie cinnamon rolls with the vanilla bean icing. It's going to be really easy, and this recipe is going to be delicious. We're making everything from scratch. I'm going to walk you through all the steps. All of the ingredients will be listed in the description for you to follow. I will occasionally have some of the measurements on the screen. And the best part about this recipe, in my opinion, is the vanilla bean. Real vanilla bean we're using for this recipe is going to be so good. Start off by slicing and dicing your apples. That's right, slice and dice. I'm using this handy tool I got off of Amazon. Let me know if you like it. I'll put the link in the description for you to follow. So we're basically going to get the exterior skin off. Go ahead and cut into a spiral like this. Only thing we're doing is chopping up these apples into smaller pieces. That's all you need to do. So just peel your apples and break them up into smaller pieces, because remember, we want to put this inside of the cinnamon roll, so we definitely want to have some nice pieces of apples, but not too large, okay? And this should look just like that. Go ahead and grab your medium saute pan, melt 4 tablespoons of butter, and you want to go ahead and add the sliced apples to that. The goal is to soften the apples, so we're going to go ahead and saute these for about 5 to 7 minutes along with the other ingredients. Alright, to that, add a half a cup of dark brown sugar. That molasses is going to work very well with the sliced apples, and that's the remaining butter that I had. You only need 4 tablespoons, okay? Now listen, stir to combine. The goal is to melt this brown sugar so that way we don't have no clumps in our filling. This is going to be 1 tablespoon, not 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. You don't want a tablespoon of nutmeg in this mixture, okay? Then go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. See, I got that right. That's why we follow the instructions on the screen and in the description. Stir to combine all that. The goal is to make this a nice syrupy sauce, and we're going to allow the apples to soak up all of the good old spices, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the brown sugar. Is going to be really amazing. Alright, now I have it on low now because I'm letting it simmer. And listen, adding some Myers rum. 1 to 2 tablespoons to your liking, of course. Go ahead and add that and let that simmer off. That's going to give it a nice note of flavor. As you can see, our sauce is not necessarily thick yet, but just keep it on low. After we saute everything on medium high, we're going to put it on low and allow everything to combine. Listen, it's on low and look at it. Don't that look good? Alright, once this is done, again, this takes about 5 to 7 minutes. Go ahead and put that aside. About 30 minutes to 1 hour in the fridge, because we want this to be completely cooled off. While that's cooling off, we're going to go ahead and get our dough mixture together, because this will take some time. Alright, so you're going to start off with 4 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, you're going to add a half cup of granulated sugar or white sugar, whatever you want to call it. To that, then you're going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Those are going to be the dry ingredients. And again, I will have all the measurements listed on the screen and in the description for you. We're going to go ahead and take 1 full cup and 1/4 cup of warm milk. Then 1 pack of active yeast. We're going to go ahead and add that in. We're going to allow that to bloom, because we're going to need to add this to our dough mixture. Go ahead, stir to combine. And what you want to do, you want to sit this in a nice warm place while you get everything else together. Allow that to bloom up. So this is 1 stick of softened room temperature butter that we're going to go ahead and add to the flour mixture. We're going to break this butter up into the flour as you see on the screen. Fun, get your hands nice and dirty, but again, make sure your hands are nice and clean. We are going to start off in our stand mixer by mixing all of the dry ingredients. Add that milk and yeast to the dry ingredients until everything is well incorporated. You can do this by hand, it will take some time, but the stand mixer is completely easy. Add 2 large eggs. I add 1 egg in at a time and allow this to mix and combine. Alright, so about 5 to 7 minutes inside the stand mixer. This is just kneading the dough using our dough attachment instead of doing it by hand. So once you take the dough out, it should not be sticky. So as you can see, I can move the dough and I don't have that much dough sticking to my hand. It's very important because you do not want sticky dough. Alright, go ahead and flour the work surface. Again, just use some all-purpose flour so that way the dough does not stick to the work surface. And as you can see here, the dough is nice and well combined. I'm just going to go ahead and knead it by hand just a couple more times before I roll it into a ball, just like that. Again, I'm just rolling it, getting a little bit more flour in there. My cutting board was moving while I was doing this, but as you can see, it's a nice ball, soft to the touch, and it's ready to go. You see? Perfect. You're gonna go ahead and allow this dough to rest and rise. So we're gonna go ahead and put this dough into a nice bowl, a greased bowl. You see I have butter in there. And we're gonna go ahead and cover this up, and we're gonna place it in a warm place for 1 to 2 hours. You can put the oven on the lowest setting, about 100 degrees or 120, and let that rise for 1 and 2 hours. No higher than that, but again, a nice warm place. We're going to go ahead and get our cinnamon roll mixture together. This is the mixture that's going to go inside of the cinnamon roll along with the apples. 1 stick of softened butter, 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon, remember 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and then a half a cup to 1 cup of brown sugar, depending on how much mixture you want inside. Go ahead and stir to combine, and as you can see here, this is going to become a nice cinnamon butter mixture to go inside of our cinnamon rolls. So that's all you need. Look at that, we're done. We're taking the good old vanilla bean that I told y'all about earlier, and we're going to make a nice cream cheese icing for this. Go ahead and open and split your vanilla beans and take the beans out. Very simple and easy. Just split it down the middle, take a knife, and take the beans out, and it should look just like that. Set it aside, and then we're going to go ahead and get our mixture together. Those beans look amazing. It smells very good. Take 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, and then to that, we're going to add 1 cup of sifted powdered sugar to that mixture. And again, we want the powdered sugar to be nice and smooth. You do not want a lumpy icing on top of your cinnamon buns. Take 4 tablespoons of milk. You're going to go ahead and use a hand mixer, or you can mix it by hand, but you just want to mix until this mixture is nice and smooth. This would be a perfect time to go ahead and add those vanilla beans that we opened up earlier, and go ahead and stir to combine and mix that into the cream cheese mixture. And listen, I added a teaspoon of vanilla extract at the end, but you can also do that at the beginning. That gives it a nice note of flavor. Go ahead and lick that spoon and look at that. You see the vanilla beans inside of that cream cheese icing. It looks amazing. Alright, so now we are going to go ahead and get our dough rolled out so we can actually make our cinnamon buns. Go ahead and add all-purpose flour to your work surface. We're going to go ahead and roll the dough out, and we need a nice surface with flour so that way that dough can roll out, because it's a hungry dough. So go ahead and press the dough out. You want to press it out into a shape of a nice large square. Now listen, my square wasn't perfect, but it was good enough. So again, we're working on this together, and this is my first time doing it. So again, we're going to go ahead and press it out so we have enough room to add the filling and everything. Now, after you press it out by hand, go ahead, take a rolling pin, and you can further roll it out. You do not want this dough to be thin. You don't want to see through the dough. You still want it to be slightly thick, and it should look just like that. Very important. So go ahead and take our cinnamon mixture. We're going to go ahead and spread that out from end to end. That's very important. Okay, spread it out end to end and make sure you get all sides, because when we roll it, we want to make sure each part of the roll has enough of the mixture for the cinnamon rolls. Okay. remember our apples. So listen, take out cool apples that's been sitting nice and thick. Again, use a slotted spoon. But wait, before we finish this recipe, if you like this content, like this video and subscribe to my channel for more recipes weekly, okay? So listen, use a slotted spoon. You want to go ahead and add the mixture to that. You do not want the mixture to be wet. You should still have a lot of the syrup left in the bowl. And you can add a little bit drizzle, just as you see here. But again, the apples, you do not want them to be drenched in the sauce when you put it inside the dough. You don't want a wet dough. Now we're at the fun part. We're going to go ahead and roll this dough nice and tight. Roll and cuff. Roll and cuff. You want to make sure that each roll has enough apples. Now, if the mixture starts to back up, as you see here, you can easily spread it out. But again, roll and cuff this dough, and again, be gentle with it. You see there's no tears in the dough, it's not too wet, and that's exactly why I said use a slotted spoon when adding the apple mixture. Roll and cuff. Now you will have some excess mixture go on the counter, but again, we're not losing a lot of the mixture. See, just like that. You will need a non-stick or a grease baking pan for this recipe. We're going to put our cinnamon rolls in that later, and also some dental floss, some non-flavored dental floss to help make nice clean rolls. You're going to go under your roll, and then you're going to pull it up and cross it to cut the dough. And listen, look at that. Look how perfect that cinnamon roll is. And you see the apple on top? Can we have the apples inside of that? Remember, we rolled in top earlier. So look at that. Look at the apples. Let's get another closer view of this. This looks amazing. And it's so easy. You can use a knife, but you have to be careful. It may mess up the dough and create tears inside of the dough as well. So let's go ahead and clean up our area just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and let this rise. Look at that. So there you have your cinnamon rolls. Cover this up. Also going to put this in a warm place for about an hour to allow the dough to rise. After an hour, you see our cinnamon rolls doubled in size. Look at that. They're all close together. You saw it earlier. Now look at that. You see the apple notes. This is so perfect. This is amazing. We're going to bake this at 350 for 30 minutes, and then we're done. I know this is a long recipe, longer than usual, but listen, we got to try some new things here and there, and the fact that we made this from scratch is amazing. Now look at that. Look at those cinnamon rolls. That looks so good. We're going to let these cool off for 15 minutes before adding the icing. We don't want them to be cooled off completely because we do want the icing to somewhat melt onto the warm cinnamon rolls. Again, they should not be piping hot when you add the cream cheese mixture to that. So go ahead and add that vanilla bean cream cheese mixture to that, and we're going to be ready to go ahead and eat this. I want the corner piece. Look at that. You have the filling of the apple pie mixture that we made. This looks so good. The icing, a nice soft cinnamon bun, cinnamon roll, whatever you want to call it. And look at that. Look at the apples. Nice and dark and soft. This is amazing. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and give a nice try of this amazing cinnamon roll that we made. Happy holidays. This is East with Twan. This is Christmas 2021. Can't believe we're moving so fast. But listen, I'm going to finish eating this. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you love this content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.